Well, last night the Vikings improved to a 6-2 record with their win over the Colts. And here to talk all about it is our Vikings insider, Cody Benjamin. Good morning, Cody.
Good morning, Maria. We're back in the win column, so it's good news for Vikings
Thank
fans.
God. Oh my gosh. I mean, that was really a kind of weird one to watch last night. For you, what was the most encouraging thing about the Vikings win over the Colts?
Yeah, weird is a good way to describe it because it feels good to be back in the win column if you're the Vikings, but it wasn't the prettiest game. A win is a win, but there were things to be, I think, proud of and things to work on. The things that I guess would be most encouraging, you look at the defense. Brian Flores' defense the last few weeks had really been vulnerable, defending the pass, giving up chunk plays. And Joe Flacco, he started the night, he looked fairly comfortable as the Colts quarterback, the new starter there. But again, by the end of the night, the Colts were averaging less than 5 yards per play. They didn't score a single offensive touchdown. Their one touchdown of the night came on that fumble recovery and scoop and score for the Colts. So I just think it was an impressive and encouraging step forward for Brian Flores' defense. Jonathan Grenard with two more sacks up front. Even when they gave up, some a few chunk plays to move the chains, they really tightened up in the red zone, in the scoring area there. So I think that just a positive step forward for the Vikings defense.
And despite the win, there were some concerning aspects about last night's game. What's the most concerning to you about this team despite their win?
Well, you're not going to beat every team turning the ball over three times. And so Sam Darnold having three turnovers, you mentioned a weird game for the Vikings, definitely a weird game for Sam Darnold because we kind of got the full Sam Darnold experience on Sunday night. You could look at it glass half full or glass half empty with Darnold. I think that, we saw kind of his three turnovers were all pretty big mistakes. I mean, the kind of rolling to his left, throwing across his body into the end zone. That's kind of a no-no for any quarterback. And so he really gifted the Colts, kind of a turnover there. And then later in the game, kind of forcing a throw and allowing Indianapolis to kind of stay in this ball game. And yet, I mean, he did bounce back. He stayed composed until the end. He kept feeding Justin Jefferson. He got other guys involved, Jordan Addison, even TJ Hawkinson, who was back. So I still don't. I think it was it was a good finish by Sam Darnold, but you've got to clean up. You've got to have better ball control moving forward.
Yeah, and we're going into week 10 of the season. To you, what's a fair outlook for the Vikings in the NFC now, North, now moving forward?
I mean, I think a lot of it does come back to Sam Darnold, and then also I didn't mention the offensive line. I think early on against the Colts, the interior there, they had some trouble against Indianapolis's front, and Cam Robinson, coming over just a few days before the game, via trade. I think he performed okay as Sam Darnold's new left tackle, considering the short notice there. But that's something to watch. I mean, if Sam Darnold doesn't have great protection down the stretch, that's going to be something to monitor, whether he's going to start getting more kind of frenetic, trying to force throws into traffic. But the schedule, it does benefit the Vikings. I mean, they got the Colts. Next, they go to Jacksonville to play kind of a reeling Jaguars team. After that, they've got the Titans. They're not great. And so you've got a feasible scenario here where you could be sitting at, something like 8-2, 7-3. You're still very much in the mix in the NFC North.
Man, cool. Cody, anything else you wanted to add on this Monday after a Vikings victory?
Yeah, I think it's just in terms of the big picture, it's a week by week thing here. I mean, it's the case with every team in the NFL, but with the Vikings, starting 5-0, we talked a lot about it earlier this year. They had already almost exceeded expectations because no one really they didn't know what to make of this team kind of led by Sam Darnold, some other playmakers, but just some uncertainty there at quarterback. I think that this is pretty much who they are, the team that hung in against the Colts. I think they're not a powerhouse like the Lions, but I think they're going to be scrappy. I think they're going to hang around in that wild card race until the end.
All right. Cody Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we can talk to you again next week after another Vikings win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, Maria.
absolutely. Yeah, so for week 10, the Vikings play the Jacksonville Jaguars in Florida. That game is Sunday at noon.